Welcome, everybody. This is the Waiting Room Podcast, and it's been a while. I'm your host, Kyle Waite, and we're going to talk today about a little bit of football. Again, you guys know I love sports. We're going to talk a little bit about the Dave Chappelle, not so much canceling, but it's a pretty big outcry that I've thought would have died fairly quick, and it's just kept going. And then we're going to talk about gun safety because if any of you guys didn't know, somebody famous shot somebody and killed somebody over the weekend. So, or I guess it was earlier in the week. Days blend together, guys. So if I forget what day it is, I apologize. But yeah, it's during the week. So we'll cover that. And, if I have anything else pop in my head, we'll hit that. But again, guys, like I said, you need to jump into football. I tell you guys, it's not really the most important games of the week. It's more, hey, this is what's on my mind. So, these are the ones that I'm sort of interested in past my team. Sometimes my team is the one that, it's the one I'll highlight for the week, but I don't want to do that every week because it's not Baltimore Ravens football talk. It's a waiting room podcast. We kind of do what we want here. So first off, first game of the week, early game, it's the Washington football team against the Green Bay Packers. It's really only important for the Packers. I don't see this game being the game that we all thought it should be earlier in the year. I think it's going to be a game where the Green Bay Packers need to win. They need to keep kind of showing that week one game was a fluke. Again, Washington's a good team. On paper, a good team. Personnel's a good team. But they don't have a quarterback as good as Taylor Heineke is, as much as he can move around a little bit better than Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's just not what they need. And honestly, Washington football team, as great as it would be for them to win in a season where they may be in some legal trouble, now that the government is going after them, trying to get their hands on the emails, I'm going to say they need to lose this game. I don't think that they're a quarterback away, but they're a better quarterback away from being a good football team. They need, parts and pieces here and there, but realistically, they need to lose this game. They need to. Another factor playing into this game, we've got Antonio Gibson was reported to have a hairline shin fracture earlier in the season, which, for fantasy owners, I know not everybody, watches football for fantasy. Some people do. But for football, fantasy football owners, the reason he was probably not playing super well is he had a shin fracture. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to pretend like I understand how a hairline shin fracture can heal while you continue to play football. However, they do think that he's improving and is slated to play this weekend. So, again, I'm going to pick the Packers. There's no real reason to. Their offense is what it is. They're, other than the fact that they keep getting injured, is really the only thing that could hold the Packers back against the Washington football team. But realistically, it's Aaron Rodgers. As I said earlier in the year, Aaron Rodgers has the best middle finger in football. It just is. He's a stubborn guy. I expect him to keep coming out and keep hitting teams, whether it's by a lot, whether it's by a little. I expect the Packers to win this game. But, again, that's why we play the games. The next game, we have the Chiefs and the Titans. The Chiefs are 3-3. The Titans are 4-2. This is going to be a game we wanted to watch regardless. But to see those records for those two teams, if they were flipped, you'd a little less surprised. But seeing that, if the Chiefs lose, they're below 500, 7 games into the season. There's 10 more to play. It's not the end of the world for them, but they do need to start gaining ground on teams that are, ahead of them. The Broncos lost on Thursday. I mean, anybody that watched that game, it wasn't the most fun game in the world to watch. You had Case Keenum, no Baker Mayfield, no Nick Chubb, no Kareem Hunt, just Case Keenum handing the ball off because Denver couldn't stop anybody, especially once Von Miller got hurt. But again, they take a step back. So then you have the Chargers, who are on a bye week, and you have the Raiders, who we'll get to a little bit later. again, they need to start making some headway. The issue is they cannot stop a nosebleed. I say that, knowing that they're a professional football team, but they're hurt. Some positions just aren't good. Some guys are just playing below the level they've shown in the past. This needs to be an offensive game, and fortunately for the Chiefs, the Titans are hurt. That's really the big thing that will factor into this is the Titans are hurt. They shouldn't pose a huge threat. Just by name recognition alone, the Chiefs offense should be able to get it done. The last time that Patrick Mahomes played the Tennessee Titans, 2019, he did go for, I believe it was 400 and almost 450 yards and 3 touchdowns, but they lost by a field goal. I could see this game just as easily being decided by a field goal. However, I just don't see the Titans having enough on offense to get it done. They do have A.J. Brown. They do have Julio Jones. And they have King Derrick Henry, who last 5 games has gone over 100 yards. Matter of fact, the only game was week 1, and I kind of take week 1 with a grain of salt. But again, Derrick Henry has been the equalizer all year for the Tennessee Titans. It's the reason they're 4-2. That and some timely defense. But at the end of the day, I really don't think that Derrick Henry is going to be the thing that gets it done. So unless Ryan Tannehill, continues to make plays like he has been the last few years, doesn't play as bad as he did last week, again, I see the Chiefs winning by at least a touchdown. But hey, we'll see. The next, as I said earlier, Raiders Eagles. The Raiders need a win. They need it. I know I said that with the Packers, but the Raiders need a win. With having to get rid of their coach in the middle of the season, with having to deal with all of that, with having, it spanned from misogyny to homophobia to it being race related, they need to win games. They need to show that as a team, not that it doesn't bother them, but, that this isn't going to derail what should be a good Las Vegas Raiders season. Again, I wasn't one of those guys that thought they were going to be super great, maybe 9-8. But, to keep on that track, to keep, they're leading the division, because if they win this week, they're number 1. But there shouldn't be a whole lot of reason that they don't. I'm picking the Raiders this week, and a lot of it's got to do with who they're playing. The Eagles, they're just not good. They're not good. They're good in the way that you would need to beat the Raiders. Ironically, they can run the ball. However, they don't. Their leading rusher is Jalen Hurts, who is got about 300 yards, which is about 50 more than their running back, who has no rushing touchdowns this year. But again, they just don't. They don't do enough to where they should scare Las Vegas Raiders. I don't know what it is. If I'm just being honest, it's not like the Eagles have world beaters, but they've shown at times they've had guys that can make big plays. But at the end of the day, they just traded Zach Ertz. They're not incredibly focused on passing the ball. That's evidenced by Jalen Hurts being. And I know there's some funny stats. It's too early in the season, but he's somewhere around bottom of the league in expected yards per attempt. Basically, he's passing short more often than any other quarterback in the league, and that's great when it's hitting. But when you're getting 2-3 yards every play, 2-3 yards, 2 + 3 + 3, you're still short of the 10. And that's what the Eagles are running into, is they keep doing these short little passes and hoping it works. And I honestly think the Raiders are a good enough, fast enough defense to where it should just offset a lot of what's going on. Now, they have been allowing a lot of rushing yards to teams this year, but they're also one of the better defenses as far as pass goes. They're 10th in the league as far as quarterback rating. They're 6th in the league in sacks. They're doing the things that you would need to do. And if they can stop the run or just make it running harder, that's it. You don't have to stop it. Honestly, the Raiders have not stopped anybody really this year. This is going to sound like a little bit of shade being thrown at them, but they got lucky against Baltimore. Lamar Jackson fumbles twice, but they allowed almost 200 yards, rushing. It's not a scary defense when it is, but they do need to make it tougher on teams. They're 4-2. There's a reason they're 4-2, and it's not just the offense. But the offense is a big thing. Derek Carr has almost 2,000 yards, and we're in week 7. We're starting week 7. By the end of the week, he'll probably have somewhere around like 2,200. So he's averaging 300 yards a game passing. It's what you would want from the Las Vegas Raiders. But again, it's why I'm picking Sorry, almost did it. Not Oakland. That's why I'm picking the Las Vegas Raiders this week. I see no reason they shouldn't, take it away from them. One final note, and again, I need to highlight how bad Jalen Hurts has been. The only guys that his expected yards are further than, as far as starting quarterbacks go, are Ben Roethlisberger, who is old. His body's breaking down. He can only do so much, and their offensive line's just terrible. Jared Goff, who I'll get to in a second, and Geno Smith. Those are not. It's not company you want to be right ahead of. Those are names you want to distance as far as you can away from them, and say, hey, you know what, I'm better than this. But again, Philadelphia has to show it. I just don't think they can. I think they're incredibly limited by Jalen Hurts and what he can do, or at least what they're allowing him to do at this point. So that's where I sit with them. As I said, I'm going to get to Jared Goff because my last pick is the Lions and Rams. It should be an easy pick. Should be an easy game. Shouldn't really be something to watch for, unless you bet on sports that's about like a 2-touchdown line for the game, meaning that you can bet on the Lions, and as long as they don't lose by more than 2 touchdowns, which is possible, you could still win. So who knows? Oh, you guys lost me. I'm back. Okay. I'm not sure how much of this you guys missed, but my internet cut out here for a little bit, so I apologize for that. Again, the Lions, and the Rams switch quarterbacks. We all know that. We all know that the reason that they switched out was largely because the coach was like, "Hey, we're a good team, but we can't do some things because we have a quarterback who's a little limited." He just was. Jared Goff is a good quarterback. He's probably not winning you a championship. If we're being honest, I think probably a league average or, slightly above league average quarterback beats the Patriots that year that the Rams are in the Super Bowl. Jared Goff's average to below average. He just is. He's got some limitations. Decision making, the scheme he's in doesn't help him at all. The Lions have made it very clear that they don't really care about winning this year. They're building for the future. Again, they have quarterback. They have a left tackle in Penei Sewell, which should be a building block. They'll have Taylor Decker back next year. They'll have guys. They'll have a team, hopefully respectable next year or two. But again, they don't have weapons around Jared Goff. Their top 3 pass catchers are T.J. Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift, and I believe it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. All of them are below 10 yards per catch, and that's not getting it done. Especially, it's not getting it done against a team that's known for big plays. Sean McVay's, people really love the guy, partially because he's very innovative, but again, he led a team quarterbacked by Jared Goff to a Super Bowl. If that doesn't give you a whole lot of credit, I don't know what will. Now he's got Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford's almost a 70% passer. He's got 16 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Like he's playing what you would expect. They're 5-1. All that talk about, Matt Stafford's always been a good stats, bad team guy. No, he's just on a bad team. Detroit's been ran poorly for years. And the few times it's been ran by, marginally competent people, they found a way to mess it up. Jim Schwartz probably always needed a better offensive coordinator. Jim Caldwell was always a better offensive coordinator than he would have ever been a head coach. And that's no shade at Jim Caldwell. It's just he's got a mind for football. He's been around the game of football for, I believe, 30 years. but Jim Caldwell was never a good head coach. Guys liked him, and sometimes it's all you need. Really, that is. Sometimes it's all you need, but Detroit's been a poorly ran franchise for years. And now they've got a guy who at least gives a shit. I mean, they're 0-6, but Dan Campbell gives a shit. He's at least making the effort there. I mean, they've had games that are a lot closer than some people would have thought. They at least came back. Again, it was week 1, kind of grain of salt that game, but they try. And that's the thing. So you can tell Detroit's a team that tries. They just don't have talent. I looked along their defense, and I mean, the best guy to this point is probably Amani Aruwarie, and he's got 3 interceptions. The rest of the team, it's just, you've probably heard of some of the guys, but they're not that good. They're not a good team yet. And again, the offense isn't that good. On the other side, as I was talking about, the Rams offense it's just scary good. Again, with Stafford, with guys like, Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's, I believe, leading the NFL in catches and yards. I think he's also leading in touchdowns. I don't foresee that, continuing, but again, he's one of the top guys in the league. They've got Robert Woods. Again, Robert Woods is a good player, but if you don't have a guy that can get him the ball, he looks a little, less good. And then you've got Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson, I wasn't a huge fan of him coming out of college. A lot of it's just, I don't love guys that are fast, and, all they've shown is they're fast. And then you think about it, they've got guys like Tyler Higbee, who's a good short yardage tight end. He's not running away from anybody, but he's a good short yardage guy. You've got Darrell Henderson. You've got Sonny Michel. And weirdly enough, they've got Deshaun Jackson. It's just as a guy they chuck it deep to. He's got 8 catches. I believe it's something like 27 yards per catch. Now, again, it's 8 catches, but again, you have a guy that you can just chuck the ball deep to. That's something that you want to have. On the other side of the ball, you've got 12 guys. 12 different guys have either forced a fumble or had an interception this year for the Rams defense. They lose some guys because they're paying Jalen Ramsey. They're paying Aaron Donald, who, despite his stats, is still having a fantastic year. But their guys are producing. Their guys are doing what you would hope they would do. And again, I don't see a reason that the Rams lose this game. Again, I'm just interested more on how it shakes out and how close it could possibly be if a few things break right for the Lions. But that's my football wrap up. Again, we've got some entertaining games. Bears and Bucks should be entertaining. Again, the Bears are the ones that made Tom Brady look real foolish last year. Before, they go to the Super Bowl, and kind of doesn't matter. You forget all about those, silly, goofy things, getting drubbed by the Saints twice. But again, it should be an entertaining thing. Again, Justin Fields going out there, hopefully having a good game. And then I believe Monday night is the 49ers and the Colts, which was probably a better game on paper than earlier in the season than it was now. But who knows? And again, then lastly, my Ravens are playing the Bengals early. I guess I have to touch on them a little bit. We're going to have to start Devontae Freeman. I'm not a huge fan of bringing in old guys. The Ravens have kind of shown you can literally walk off the street and you'll be fine. That's what they've shown. You can walk off the street as a running back and you'll be fine. And that's what Devontae Freeman's shown. That's what Gus Edwards has shown. That's what Le'Veon Bell, who didn't have an especially great week, but he had a touchdown. But I believe they should be playing a guy like Tyson Williams, an undrafted free agent who, I mean, you look at him, you look at Darnus Johnson Thursday night. You have these young guys who are like, I may never really get a chance in the league again, so I'm going to keep running hard and running hard and running hard. It's why I believe in playing those younger players. I expect a head-scratching throw by Lamar at some point, just because he throws 1 or 2 a game, and sometimes the defense doesn't catch it. Again, last week, one of his interceptions bounced off his receiver's chest. You can't really do anything about that. But again, this should be a good game. They are literally one of the worst betting teams. So if you're watching this, and I'll tell you now, don't bet on them. The Ravens are historically over the last 5 years have been one of the worst teams to bet on. So it's a stay away if you're betting. But But again, I'm always going to root for my team. I'm going to assume they'll win, but the Bengals are having a good year. So who knows? But this is essentially for the lead in the AFC North. I've obviously got my Ravens, but if Lamar does some silly stuff, if the team just doesn't come to play as it does sometimes, could be lost. That's all I got for football. I guess I'll touch a little bit on baseball. The Braves closed it out last night against the Dodgers, which I'm conflicted on. So I did an emergency podcast earlier in the year about Marcell Ozuna, and then I've done a podcast on the Dodgers pitcher accused of sexual assault. I didn't see a real win for me on a personal standpoint. I wasn't like, man, I hope these teams win. The Red Sox amazingly made it to the American League Championship Series. I said earlier in the year they're probably the fourth best team in their division. They made to the ALCS. So of course I was rooting for them all season, but then look on the other side of the bracket, it's like, oh, these are what I have to look at, and I wasn't stoked just because I do believe that some of the stuff that we care about matters. I do believe that trying to endorse a guy or a team, which again they're not endorsing him, but he still exists on the Braves. If the Braves wanted to show they cared about any of this domestic violence stuff, they would have cut him. Pay the man his money, whatever. Go through the legal process it is. But essentially, you're rid of him. It's hard. Because, again, I watch sports to get away from stuff. But stuff like domestic violence never sits well. Domestic violence, sexual assault, any of the other stuff we kind of just ignore because we want to be entertained. That's why we watch sports. That's why I watch sports. I want to be entertained. I don't want to focus on stuff, but it's hard to ignore. I've got 3 kids. I've got 2 daughters. It's hard for me to just sit back and be like, oh, yeah, this is all right with me. So I've got some buddies who are big Braves fans, and as much as I'd love to, see their team win, at the end of the day, Marcell Ozuna gets a championship ring if they win. So unfortunately, they did their time. Their managers were suspended for that time, eventually fired. I love Dusty Baker. I grew up in Northern California. So, I've got a little bit of love for those teams growing up. So Dusty Baker was Barry Bonds, manager when I was a kid. I love Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker seems like a good guy. He's been around baseball forever. He just keeps getting job after job. I honestly don't understand why a team ever fires him because it's not the issue. He's a good guy. So weirdly enough, I'm going to have to root for the Astros who, just knocked my team out of the playoffs. That's just a little bit. I felt it was important to touch on that. We'll get a little bit more into basketball. I've already got my, hater of the year, going. I'm going to be going back to Phoenix. I can't do it. Can't do it. I can't root for the Suns. I just can't do it. Can't bring myself to do it. Again, a lot of bandwagon Suns fans. I was there up in the nosebleeds, which is weird. I wasn't always in the nosebleeds, but I was up in the nosebleeds or the lower bowl with not, you had like a few thousand fans, but there's a lot of empty stadiums depending on who they're playing and or arenas. I just can't root for them. I don't worry about the Lakers. We're all of a few games in. I don't care if they choke each other out. I care about the Lakers once we get to the playoffs. Once we get to the playoffs, okay. Or if the Lakers look like they're not going to make it. Oh. Notification. My bad, guys. But again, not worried about the Lakers. The Kings looked good, better at sometimes than others. But again, we'll get more into basketball more once baseball ends. But that's my sports wrap up for the week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But as I said, I wanted to get into some of the Dave Chappelle stuff because honestly, I really, really thought it would die. That's just me though. I thought the Dave Chappelle stuff was predictable. He even says it in the special. I don't know if I would expect most reasonable people that, think Dave Chappelle's funny and, wanted to laugh, watch the special. So you watch the special and, he says stuff that could offend people. Okay. Now, I just want people to bear in mind, this is the same guy that walked away from millions and millions of dollars because Comedy Central didn't want to do a show his way. This is the same guy that, did the racial draft on said sketch show that he walked away from. That he made a racist, racist didn't like black people, black dude sketch. So I find it troubling that, we're going after people still. I mean, I'm not surprised. Again, I said it's predictable. It really is. It's predictable that we are going to try to, come after a guy that he makes jokes. He makes jokes, but he made plenty of jokes towards plenty of groups of people. And the one that got hit was the trans community. And he says in his special, like, they're going to come after me for it. They've been coming after me for my specials because he makes jokes. But he makes jokes about plenty of groups of people. He makes jokes about black people. He makes jokes about white people. He makes jokes about women. He makes jokes about people. That's what he does. So if you watch a special and you're like, oh my God, he said something offensive. Well, okay, you don't have to like the joke, but is it offensive because it's offensive, or is it offensive because you don't like the joke? Realistically, I don't know who's watching Dave Chappelle and being like, oh my God, he said this. Yeah. He kind of just says what he wants. And it's not been, a different guy from now to ever. He just kind of says what he wants. He kind of is like, hey, this is how I feel about it. And, if you don't like it, get over it. Matter of fact, the biggest thing he brings up, and coming from a white dude, so again, this is all taken with a grain of salt, but this kind of proves his point, which is, why they're trying to get different kind of activists to come at them, specifically black trans activists. They're trying to give them a platform, and I find it odd, because then they're saying, oh, well, he's not just coming after trans people, he's coming after black trans people. No, he was just making a joke. But he makes another joke, during some of these trans jokes, which I feel like people kind of just skip over, and it makes me wonder. He says, why is it easier for Caitlyn Jenner, who he says is a wonderful person, why is it easy for her to change her gender than it was for Cassius Clay to change his name? It's a good point, right? It's a weird thing where a man from the black community can say, I believe this and this and this, and we don't really hear this. We actually kind of go out of our way to ignore it, just to say, oh, well, he's being offensive. Well, he's being offensive, but he's also willing to sit there and talk. It's one of those things I talk to you guys about. Don't be so set in your, the ways you think about stuff to just, I can't talk to you about this because I don't believe what you believe. Okay. Sit down and have a conversation. See if that person's reasonable enough to have the conversation with. Dave Chappelle's been nothing but a thoughtful guy for 20 plus years. And you can't sit down with a guy and say, oh, well, this is why you offend us. He's, matter of fact, he said as much. He said he's willing to sit down with people, which is funny because then you have a black trans activist come out and say, oh, well, he's not willing to talk to us. Well, he may not be willing to talk to you, but the specific black trans activist that came out and said this has also made racist jokes towards Asian people or homophobic jokes. And this is the person that was, around that Netflix walkout. So somebody who's like, oh, well, he doesn't want to talk to us. Well, I wouldn't want to talk to somebody who's been kind of a bigot themselves. Like you're not the person to talk to. You don't seem educated. You seem like somebody who says and does things to get attention. And that's fine. That's fine if you want to be, but you can't expect that everybody's going to want to talk to you. I don't know. Another activist said, not activist, another comedian said he was most definitely punching down. Most definitely punching down. Oh, sorry. He's absolutely punching down. The same person claims to have not watched the special. I understand if you don't want to give somebody your business, you don't want to give them, the time of day. But if you're going to sit down and speak out against people, you should probably be well educated in what you're talking about. Sit down and say, oh, yeah, I watched it. This is what offended me. Not, well, I heard what he said. If you heard what he said, then, again, maybe you should watch the special. Maybe you should listen to what he says, because he literally says in the special, they're trying to cancel him over things that they've heard. Not something that they actually know about, not something that they've talked to, again, an audience with Dave Chappelle isn't going to happen for everyone. But, if you watch the special and then, like, oh, well, he did say this, but, he meant some of this in jest. Some of the stuff he was, making light of. Some of the stuff he says, hey, like, I'm kind of jealous, because as a black man in America, it's still harder for me to advance myself. And again, for him, he's come a long way, but he had to turn down, $50 million to do it. He had to take a gamble and keep working at what he does to do it. But it's harder for a black man to prosper than it is somebody. And again, I don't mean this as an offensive term, but from the alphabet community, LGBTQ+. It's a mouthful. I call it the alphabet community. It's just a little bit easier, rolls off the tongue. I don't mean anything offensive by it. It's just, it is what it is. No, I didn't mean to kind of throw this in here, but, I watched Halloween Kills yesterday, and spoiler alert, the town goes after Michael Myers. Okay, town goes after Michael Myers. The issue is they get up in this mob, and they go after this guy. They go after the wrong guy. They go after the wrong guy until the point where this guy jumps off of a ledge and kills himself. As much as that might not, resonate with some people, that's what it looks like. I don't think Dave Chappelle's going to kill himself, but this is what we do to people. We put people in boxes and say, well, this is who you are, and this is why I believe it. And we're going to get an angry mob together, and we're gonna shut you down. We're gonna cancel you. We're going to demand things. It's not the way to go about it. It's not the educated way to go about it. Now, I know not everybody's looking for an educated way to go about things. People are just looking to be heard. People are just looking to have a voice. Again, I've Googled some of the people that were saying stuff. Not a great history behind some of them. It's not. I'm sure there's people out there that want to help, that are doing things to help the trans community. I'm sure there are good-hearted people out there. Otherwise, I'd be a really unhappy person if I believed everybody that was trying to do something nice was, doing it for nefarious reasons. But I have an issue with this mob mentality, and this goes back to ancient Rome. We get in this mob, this uneducated mob, and start demanding things. We got to be better than that. We do. Again, I'm aware people aren't going to agree with this, for the few people that watch it. But again, we've got to start being better with each other. We've got to start having these conversations. You don't have to have the conversation with people. It's going to be harder to understand where somebody comes from, even if you still disagree with them. It is. That's all I got to say about that. Last thing. So Alec Baldwin killed a young lady. That's really all there is to say. Alec Baldwin killed somebody. And it could have been avoided. Alec Baldwin killed somebody and could have been avoided. Now, I don't want to bash on the guy. I don't. But I preach education about stuff for a reason. Especially when it's like something made for death. Even if it's technically not supposed to be made for death. So Alec Baldwin, he's shooting a movie. Ironically, about him breaking out his grandson out of prison for being, he's going to be sentenced to death for accidentally killing somebody. Crazy, right? The world's a crazy place. But not all the details are out, but Alec Baldwin, has a prop gun and shoots and kills somebody. Shoots and kills, I believe, is the cinematographer and also injures the director of the movie. So it's been a few days and some more details have come out. And the biggest thing was I didn't know that it contained a live round. That's not a good reason. If anything, that's manslaughter. Unintentional manslaughter, but that's manslaughter. Realistically, with a good lawyer, nothing bad is going to happen to Alec Baldwin, but it should. And it should, because you look at people that he killed somebody. He killed somebody and it could have been avoided. Gun education, guys. If you're going to be educated about certain things, especially things that might kill somebody, even though a prop gun's not intended to kill somebody. But I'll tell people now, the military trains with simulation rounds. Simulation rounds are supposed to hit you and not hurt you. I mean, it might sting a little bit, but it even says on them, but they could cause death. Because we want to preach safety, because it's a gun, and those are bullets. And even though those bullets aren't made to kill people, you should be educated on what could possibly happen in the worst case scenario. Saying, oh, I didn't know, or it wasn't supposed to be. Well, again, if you have a gun or a prop gun, I don't care. It's a gun. A gun's a gun's a gun. A flare gun's going to kill somebody. A BB gun, I guess if you shoot somebody enough times, it might kill somebody. You're really not risking it with a squirt gun. That's where you're at. So I just want to go over a couple of gun safety things. Just because I know I've got friends out there that have guns, and I don't know that all of them know exactly what they're doing. So it's a couple of gun safety tips, just to be like, hey, you know what? This is what you should do if you have a gun. These are things that we go over every day in my job. Treat every weapon as if it's loaded. Now, I'll be honest, all of my firearms are loaded. That's why I treat all of them as if they're loaded. My firearms largely don't have a safety on them. I make jokes because it's a line in a movie. This is my safety. I also still treat the gun like it's loaded. I also treat the gun like it can kill people, because it can. But treat every weapon as if it's loaded. There's a reason, if you're not sure, clear the weapon out. Ask questions. I don't care if you don't want to look stupid. It's going to look real stupid, shooting somebody on the set of a movie and then saying, I didn't know it had a live round in it. Likelihood of us being in movies aren't very large, but again, shooting your buddy out in the field while drinking a pack of Natty Light. You look real dumb having to explain that to somebody's family, to a police officer, to a lawyer. Treat every weapon as if it's loaded. Next one's know your backdrop. Know what's behind it. If you intend to shoot something, you should probably know that, is it going to stop? If I shoot something at a target, is it going to stop? Or is there a group of people back there? Again, I don't know why you'd be shooting around a group of people, but again, know what's behind what you're shooting. Know your backdrop. It's not that hard. And this is my favorite one. And it's the easiest one. This is largely without a a mechanical failure, this is the one that's going to keep you safe. Is keep your booger hooker off the boom switch. Keep your finger off the trigger. If anybody has gone through a weapon safety class, it's one of the first things they teach you is how to hold a firearm, any firearm, properly, safely. And the biggest thing they tell you is don't put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to fire. Now, again, I know things are accidents, but these are things that you can do to prevent accidents. Oh, I thought it was unloaded. Well, unless you immediately checked, you shouldn't think it was unloaded. Unless you had just, again, unless there's a mechanical failure, the gun doesn't just go off. I'm gonna tell you guys something scary that happened to me this week. I had somebody arming up their weapon this week, dropped it while it was on fire. Now we've all seen, the movies or TV shows where somebody drops a gun, it goes off. That doesn't really happen with a lot of modern firearms. Matter of fact, the M9 Beretta is one of the safer weapons in the world because it doesn't just go off unless it's got a mechanical failure. Luckily, we've been doing maintenance the entire time we've been out here to where it didn't go off because that gun barrel definitely bounced and pointed towards me to where I about pooped myself. So maintain positive control. That would be my last one. Maintain positive control, meaning that if you have the firearm in your hand, you should have complete control of it, meaning that it does not point a direction that you don't intend, especially at a person, even if it's an accident. And these are simple gun safety tips to help you guys out. Now, I should be a little more consistent with these shows. Realistically, we'll do a little Kyle corner this week. Partner. I've been really busy, so I have not prioritized the podcast. Matter of fact, I've been trying to help other people with their own podcasts. But yeah, I've just been busy. Fortunately, for some of you, I've got these in. So for those of you that I spoke to before, I do have your patches. Unfortunately, the post office went down and went up the day that I went in there to mail them off. So I will be mailing them off tomorrow. But again, we have patches in. If you guys want one, support the show, just, go ahead. The little cash apps on the bottom, I'm selling them for $5. This is going to sound silly, but if you guys are going to send me your address, let me know how you're doing. As much as, I love that people just want to support the show. I do want to know how you're doing. The few guys that have reached me out, I was really happy to find out that they're doing well. One of my buddies, Sean, is doing something with police reform as a police officer. Again, I love hearing from my friends, from my family. I'd love to hear from strangers too. Again, that's why I give out my email address for the podcast. Again, if you guys have ideas, if you guys are looking to do certain things, if you want to come on the show and talk to me about something, again, this podcast is kind of whatever it wants to be right now. I love the podcast where I get to have people on and share their stories. I love the podcast where I get to just talk to you guys for a little bit about sports, about stuff that I care about. I'm taking a public speaking class right now. Hopefully it translates to here. I did get talked to a lot about my eye contact. So hopefully I'll be working on that, but nobody really likes looking dead into the computer camera. So there's a lot of reasons I do turn away from it. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that supports the show. And with that, I just want to support some other guys while I'm here. First off, as always, Taj TV, TAIJH. He's on Facebook. He's on YouTube. He does a great job. He's consistent. He works hard. He's got kids, but he still puts out a good product every week. Again, whether you disagree with him, whether you agree with him, go give him a like, go give him a share, subscribe to his podcast. He's an entertaining guy. I love the guy. Taj TV, TAIJH TV. Next up, we got Marcus over at the Truth Valley Church. I love some of the content he's putting out right now. Marcus is actually incredibly athletic and posted a video of him playing basketball with some of the guys from the church, and he looked great. So much so that I might want to back down from thinking that I ever had a chance of playing basketball against him. But again, he does things with his church that it's not all about God, but it's a church. He's a great guy. There's great people over at the Truth Valley Church. So I just want to support him. Next up, we've got Jason over at the Arizona Flag Company. He put out a Steelers flag. He's been putting out Cowboys flags. I'm not a fan, but you know what? He's a business. He's got to do business with them. So you know what? I got to support him. He does great work. They all look fantastic, despite the poor message of trying to get your kids to root for the Cowboys or the Steelers. But in all seriousness, he does a fantastic job. I want you guys to check him out. Again, subscribe his page. And realistically, if you're interested in some woodwork, he does a great job. Just give him a shout and he'll work with you. And last is my buddy Joe. And I haven't really been acquainted with Sean yet. I hear from Joe that him and I will probably argue a whole lot. But again, as I always tell you guys, if you're not talking to people that you disagree with, you're not educating yourself. So Joe and Sean over at the Out of Bounds podcast, they are a more fluid, consistent podcast. They're football. It's football. And again, they talk about some stuff that means a lot to them, but they sound good. They're at least well reasoned out. I just kind of say things and believe what I believe. And, sometimes Joe and Sean are able to change my mind, but Out of Bounds podcast, you can find them on pretty much everywhere. Again, subscribe. And again, same here. Subscribe the page, share it with your friends. I'll try to be more consistent with the show. It should be at least once a week. There's no reason I shouldn't, other than, I've got a busy schedule, but I'll always make time for you guys. Again, if you have any ideas, if you want to support the show at all, let me know. KyleTheWait@gmail. It's another great show, guys. I just, again, want to leave you guys with keep making the decision to be kind to each other. That's all we can really control at this point. And while it's not always easy, it's a decision we make. So I appreciate you guys. And until next week, bye.